No one goes to Hank's for his spreadsheets. They go for a darn good pizza. Lately, though, the shop's been quiet, so Hank decides to bring back the $1 slice. He asks Copilot in Microsoft Excel to look at his sales and costs and help him see if he can afford it. Copilot shows Hank where the money's going and which little extras make the dollar slice work. Now Hank has a line out the door. Hank makes the pizza, Copilot handles the spreadsheets. Learn more at m365copilot.com/work.
For the moments that matter, choose Curad Naturals. Infused with aloe vera and vitamin E, Curad Naturals bandages protect your unexpected scrapes, cuts, and burns while also moisturizing your skin. Find deeper relief with natural ingredients you can trust to start the healing. When life's surprises call for the best, choose Curad, a deeper level of care. Shop the full collection on Amazon or visit curad.com to learn more.
Hey, this is JJ Virgin. Welcome and thanks so much for joining me. This is Ask the Health Expert. Here I put the power of health in your hands and give you access to the top people in health and wellness. In each episode, I share safe ways to get healthy, lose weight, heal your gut, detox, and lots more. So if you want to get healthy and get off the dieting for life merry-go-round, I'll give you strategies that will help you look and feel better fast. Hey, it's JJ with a legend, an icon in our industry. Today, I have Kathy Smith with me, New York Times bestselling author and host of the podcast on health, the art of living. And Kathy, I've known her now, 10 years. She has been a role model for me my entire time in the fitness industry. And my gosh, she was the person who really put all of this and all of us on the map way back when. She has sold over 20 million exercise DVDs. She is in the Video Hall of Fame and over $500 million in Kathy Smith products. And she's still going, and it's amazing. I've actually gone to a yoga class with her. Unless you are really good at yoga, I would not tell you to do that. We were with another friend, and I finally just kind of decided I was going to lie down on the mat and laugh because it was just crazy. And I've been hiking with her a bunch. She is absolutely the vision of fitness and health, and just incredible. So I wanted to bring her on today. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff that we really have never addressed before, things that you can put into your day to help you be a lot fitter, faster, and not have some of the issues that could start to happen as you age, from osteoporosis to breaking things, happen to you. So it is going to be awesome information. And we also have some incredible show notes for you that you can get at jjvirgin.com/Kathy Smith. And Kathy is spelled Kathy. So Kathy Smith, grab those. You will want them, I promise you. And before I dive in, I want to bring you a little word about one of my favorites.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. The Four Seasons is back for season 2, starring Tina Fey, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, Marco Calvani, Carrie Kenny Silver, and Erica Henningsen. After a difficult year, your favorite group of friends continues their tradition of vacationing together, now with a baby in tow. From the Jersey Shore to upstate New York and Italy, their getaways are sure to take unexpected turns where comedy ensues. Watch The Four Seasons May 28th, only on Netflix.
All right, Kathy Smith, welcome to the show. I'm super glad to have you here today.
And I'm excited to be here.
I know. I think we had this scheduled before, and then I've been waiting. It's been a while. I'm glad that we got this dialed in because you have got some amazing information that we really haven't talked about on this show. And I was reading over the questions going, this is super cool because here's what I see. And I do this myself, so full disclosure is we get kind of hooked into our usual old workout routine. We get in a rut, And, hey, on the positive, we're working out, but what's the problem with getting into a rut and just kind of doing one certain thing all the time?
Well, the fact is, exercise is impacts almost every system in your body. So it impacts your coordination, your balance, your connective tissues, respiratory, heart, joints. I could go on and on. Brain. You talk about it on the show. We've talked about it before. But what happens is that we have this little thing called aging, and as we age, and
Stop it, Kathy. I love it until now.
well, and the key is here where you sometimes think aging is like old. But remember, aging starts around 30. It's imperceptible at first, but things start to shift in your body. And so what happens is that, for instance, let's take one little part of this. You have muscle fibers. You have slow twitch, fast twitch, and something called very fast twitch, which are your type 2B fibers. As you age, the first thing to go are these very fast twitch muscle fibers. Now, what does that mean? These are the muscle fibers that are your explosive muscle fibers. They're the ones that for propulsion. And they're the ones that as you start to lose type 2, you don't have the kick anymore. So the thing is, going out for your walk, getting on a treadmill, even going for your normal run doesn't necessarily help maintain type 2. What you need to maintain type 2 is you need something, as I said before, something explosive. So jumping on a box, let's say, or if you're going to run, doing intervals and doing bursts so that you maintain those muscle fibers. And as we go through the talk today, I'm going to show you in every part of your body, there are things that are starting to slow down, they're starting to atrophy, you're starting to lose muscle tone. But if we're only working those muscles, which I call them the vanity muscles, which I love, but if you're working your shoulders and your biceps and you get your abs in there, that's great. It's not maybe not going to help you with some of the things we're going to talk about today about balance and posture and sexual function and things like that.
Well, I love that you brought up burst training. So that's fabulous. So now everybody has another reason to do burst style high intensity interval training. I think one of the things that is just not talked about very much that is going to be one of the biggest challenges for boomers is osteoporosis. And, it's one of those things that we should be looking at way sooner and talking about way earlier. And, it's like, I think what people get their first bone density test at 50 and you kind of get diagnosed with it. You don't ever want to get diagnosed with this, right? So you want to prevent it before it starts, right?
Yes. And it's interesting because I have so many friends who are just turning 50 in their early 50s. And I just had so many calls in the last 6 months. Oh my gosh, I got my DEXA scan. I got my results. I have osteopenia, which is the step before osteoporosis. What should I be doing? And what was interesting, I was actually had a girlfriend in town for Sundance. I live up in Park City, so we have the Sundance Film Festival. She was here. I was listening to her talk to her doctor, and her doctor said, well, here are some things you can do. You can exercise, eat more calcium, giving her kind of the top line stuff. But it was interesting with the exercise. Once again, not all exercise is created equal when it comes to bone density. And what we're finding is to maintain bone density, you need to jar those bones. And when I say jar them, you have to have some impact or what they call G-force. And what they find is, not that your audience is going to understand this, but you need 4.2 Gs or greater to impact your bone. And what does that mean? That's the equivalent of, if you're on a box, a 15-inch box, jumping off that box and boom, that would give you that 4.2 G-force. Or if you're going to run a 10-minute mile. So running a 10-minute mile would also help with that G-force. But again, walking doesn't do it, swimming doesn't do it, cycling doesn't do it. If you
swimming especially, like that's like anti-bone density, if anything. I mean, that you've got really, you don't have the big jarring force in swimming. So I love that you're bringing this up, because what I remember hearing doctors telling my clients was that they had osteopenia, they should go walking. I'm like, no, you need to
Yeah.
that ain't going to cut it, honey.
Well, yeah, no, think about it. Just the same way, the same principle holds true for bones as we talk about for muscles. To build a muscle, you need to overload it. You need to stress it. And that stressing breaks it down a little bit, and that rebuilding makes it stronger. Well, the same thing with bones, your attachment, your muscles are attached to the bones, through tendons and ligaments, but you need to stress that bone to make it stronger. So that's the way you should think about it. And with everything, what's also exciting about this, I have to tell you, JJ, is that you don't need a lot of everything. So you don't need, they find like 30 seconds a day of something that's high impact on it will help your bones. So once again, we've gotten away from, oh, I need to work out for an hour, or everything we talk about today doesn't mean like, oh, I have to add another 45 minutes to my routine. No, just when you're doing your routine, get the jump rope out and go boom, 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 and do 2 minutes of jump roping.
Yep. Simple stuff, fast, easy, but you got to have some little bit of impact there and load your spine. So let's talk. Let's bring up belly fat. I always look at belly fat and say, we got to change what's at the end of your fork. But what else can you do? Because I also see that some of it is just posture.
Yeah.
And I'm watching now too. And am I missing something, Kathy? It's almost like people are having worse posture. Maybe there's this big emphasis now to have more of a booty, so their posture is even worse. I don't know. Like, what's the deal with having a good core and being able to not let it all hang out?
Well, and I know you talk about this all the time, but we have the fat, and we have that subcutaneous fat. We have, the visceral fat, which is the more deadly fat, or that surrounds your organs. So we're going to deal with that fat, and that fat is everything you preach every day, which is mainly happens in the kitchen. It happens with your diet. It happens with, not creating inflammation in your body. So scoot that away for a second, even though that's hugely important. Then you have the muscles, and the muscles that we have that are part of our core, which are the abdominals, the obliques, the transverse abdominis, all these muscles, the muscles in your back. These muscles create that posture you're talking about. Now, one thing that I think is an interesting visual, if you think about your back, you have a spine, and the spine, that's the muscle, that's the only structure between your rib cage and your pelvis. You have those vertebrae. In the front of your body, you don't have anything except your muscles. You don't have a femur, you don't have a bone, you don't have anything keeping you upright. So think about it. If you don't have a strong core, if you don't work those muscles of your abs, what happens is everything starts to contract, and gravity takes over, and it kind of smushes. If you just think about it, everything starts smushing down, and everything inside gets smushed a little bit. But that's where you start seeing where these you start to droop forward, and people lose their muscle tone, and the belly just starts to hang out. Now, on men, you think about it like that beer belly with the extra fat. On women, especially after they have their baby, and if they haven't learned how to engage those muscles, especially the muscles of the lower abdominals, then they're kind of destined to this poor posture. So one of the things I just do, even when I'm sitting, like I'm sitting down right now, leaning forward ever so slightly, getting your weight. We talk about having your weight on your sit bones, which, put your hands underneath your butt and find those two little bones, sitting on top of those, but sitting forward of those. So I'm actually on the top of my hamstring. What happens is people usually do the opposite. They lean back and they round their backs and they sit on the back of their tailbone. So that simple thing of sitting upright and maintaining the natural curve in your lower back and your lumbar region can really help you work on those abdominals all day long. So it's going to the gym's great. Dropping down, giving me a plank, giving me 100 crunches or whatever. But the key to having good posture, good abdominals is when we're sitting here right now, I'm getting an abdominal workout because I'm sitting upright. I'm engaged in my core area. So that's really important. And I don't know if you want to get into this, but one other area, especially for women, is to start to go more internally. And this internal, it all starts with pelvic floor and some of those internal muscles that we engage with Kegling. I don't know. Before I go into this, do you want to get into this or do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in it. And I was just thinking about the way, of course, I'm sitting here slumping on my chair as you said that. I was like, okay, stop it. But it made me realize I was like, I got to get my big exercise ball out of the garage and put it here because there's no slumping on an exercise ball.
Yeah.
You fall off, right? So that's another good one that you can use as your exercise ball. So no, let's talk Kegels and pelvic floor. You started in there. We can't leave them hanging.
well, you know why is because we can talk about it as it relates to the abdominals, but one of the things, and it is huge when it comes to aging, is first of all, sexual function, this idea of incontinence. And nobody really wants to think about it that much. But once women have babies, and if they've had them, through a vaginal delivery, everything down there gets a little loosened up. And so if you think about your pelvic floor like a hammock, and the front of the hammock is your pubic bone, the back is your tailbone, you have these attachments along the side, but the center of that hammock basically starts to weaken and it gets compromised. And then what happens is that when you're jumping up and down for your G-force, exercises, you get a little leakage, you get a little urine leakage. Or if you're having sex, you're finding with your partner that you can't really connect quite the same way because it's a little looser. And so we talked about Kegels, and every woman has heard about them through the years. But what I found is that a lot of people don't do them because they don't get results. And part of the reason they don't get results is they're not doing them properly. So just like we talked about with aging and with fast twitch, slow twitch fibers inside, down in your pelvic floor, and internally you have fast and slow twitch fibers. So when you Kegel, and if anybody in the audience doesn't know about Kegling, I mean, you think about, I always imagine an elevator and imagine we talk about this. Let me back up. We talk about typically if you want to find this area, if you're sitting on a toilet, I don't necessarily recommend this, but if you're urinating, stop the flow of urination for a second, and that's a Kegel. But as we go through this, you can start to think about inside your vaginal wall like an elevator, and you squeeze first floor, second floor, third floor. Right now, you can go to the penthouse, and then you can release them one at a time. That is a slow movement. It's sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Release 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then at one point, you want to flutter, and you want to go boom, 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 squeeze, squeeze, release, and so you're getting both the fast twitch and the slow twitch. And if you do Kegels where your hips are kind of propped up on a pillow, you take the pressure off the hammock area there and you can get a little bit more intensity. So there are some tips there.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
All righty. That was super good. And hopefully you're, I guess you could do that while you're driving. I was like, hopefully
Oh,
not.
no, definitely. Stoplights. That's why God created stoplights for Kegels.
Great. Now you won't get in trouble for texting. Just Kegel instead. There you go. You know, never the police will never know. So, what about balance? And I bring this one up because I remember when I first moved back to California and I was living in Palm Springs, and I had this client who was 75 who wanted to work out with me because she wanted to make sure she could continue to wear her stilettos and not fall.
That is.
And I was like, that is awesome. But, we don't talk a lot about balance, and it's a biggie. So what about balance? How do we keep that as we age or get better with it?
Well, balance starts with the feet. So it's funny that your client said about stilettos. I definitely recommend stilettos for those evenings when you want to look sexy. But in general, for good balance, you want to have good feet. And an exercise, which I think you know this, JJ, but my daughter, Kate, is a track athlete, and she went to the Olympics in Rio 2 years ago. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because she does this exercise, and she sent it to me, and she got it from a physical therapist because she always is having foot issues. And one of the things with running, with balance, with walking, with standing is to have proper placement of your weight on your feet. And so if you think of your feet as a tripod, you have your pinky toe, you have your big toe, and you have your heel. So now imagine this exercise. And if you're barefoot, you can do it while I'm talking, but it is so crazy hard, but it's so good for you. So take your right foot. All 4 toes, all 5 toes are on the ground, the big toe and the four other toes. Now, keeping the 4 toes down, lift your big toe up, which is not that hard. I'm doing it right now. Here's the tricky part. Now put your big toe down and lift the other 4 toes off the ground. And so you do that. So it's big toe comes up, 4 toes down. Big toe goes down, 4 toes up, and you go side to side, and you start working all of those small intrinsic muscles, those balance muscles that once again we forget about when we're just using the vanity muscles. These are muscles that we need in our ankle, and we need for support. We move up the body. So that's one little trick, starting with your feet. The other thing is, understanding that there is a static balance, which we tend to do in yoga classes. You get into your tree pose, or you get into your...
I have been to yoga class with you, honey. It is, I'll never do it again.
I remember.
I think you were posing on a toe. I think that I looked over and you were like up on one toe, and you had like everything else up in the air. And I'm like, I got to get out of here.
I know. I got that look from you like, honey, what are you doing? So you have that type of balance, which is great. But really the balance we need in life is more of an active form. So what I encourage people to do is, let's just say you're jumping side to side, 2 feet, right, left, right, right, left, right, stick it. And when I say stick it, nail it on your right leg. Right, left, nail it on your left leg. But try to do some things where in dance we used to do this, where it was fall and recover, meaning you start to lean, you start to tip a little bit, you fall, you recover. One of the things that we're finding is that, especially with falls, is that balance is important, but learning how to recover as you start to fall is probably more important. Let's be perfectly honest. Everybody in life is going to fall at some time. I was on the ski slope yesterday. I fell. Part of it is, though, how do we learn how to fall and recover and fall properly? And that's one of the things that is, they're really starting to teach classes now, which is this fall prevention, but more so fall training. And it seems crazy, but I know in gymnastics, we used to do it, in dance, we used to do it, where it's a drop and roll might be. But the one thing you don't want to do is get so stiff in your body that when you take that inevitable fall. One day you're going to step off a curb. One day, you're going to be running on the trail and you're going to catch a tree, a root of a tree or something. You want to make sure that you're not just so stiff that it's like boom, falling and breaking a hip. So part of it is just training for the inevitable.
You've just brought up so many things that you just never think about. And the problem is you don't think about them until they're an issue, and they're easy enough just to incorporate into your daily routine. So it's just fantastic. Now I want to bring that up because what I'd love to know is what's one thing you do every day, Kathy, in your daily routine, one thing that you feel like just, you got to do it. It makes a big, massive difference in your life.
I do something called an energization exercise. And part of this is turning on, going up my body, starting at my feet. And it takes me 2 to 3 minutes, but I do it in the morning. I can be making tea, starting the teapot or whatever. But the idea is activation. Activation is a key that people don't understand. I used to go through when I would teach, I would say, okay, let's do a lunge. People would do a lunge. They couldn't feel it in their butt at all. They only felt it right by their knee, right by in their quadricep, but almost like hurting. They were too far forward. They couldn't activate their butt muscle. So part of the thing about activation is you got to learn, because remember, you have the muscle, but the muscle is innervated with a nerve. If you can't get the nerve to fire and say, I want the glute on. So what I do is I go up. Okay, let me tell you what I do. I go, and it's just a 10-second on, 10-second, well, it can be 5. It's 5 seconds up, 5 seconds down, total of 10 seconds. So right foot, left foot. And I isolate right calf, left calf. And when I say right calf, I'm going, just the right calf, squeeze, tighten, almost to spasm and release. Then the left, but not incorporating your glute or anything else. You go up to the quad, the glute, the abs, the chest. You go all the way up the body. And what this does, and it's part of it also, just an Eastern discipline that I use, Eastern philosophy. And this is just bringing chi or energy throughout your body. And it's just my wake up. I wake up like that, but I notice that it turns everything on, makes me, and just makes me more aware of how I'm standing, sitting, and everything else throughout the day. So that's my one little trick.
All right. Of many that you've shared today. And I know that you've also got a fun little quiz for everybody. We always do great gifts, and you have got and I mean, you definitely have endless energy. I'll never forget. I've now had the chance to go on a couple different hikes with you, and man, I was getting a good night's sleep before. So tell us about this endless energy quiz that everyone can grab at jjvirgin.com/Kathy Smith. That's Kathy with a K, Kathy. What are they going to find out there?
Well, a common complaint as we get older is I don't have energy. And part of it is determining what's zapping your energy. So that's what the quiz is about. And it could fall in the category of a lot about what you teach, which is about blood sugar and cortisol and insulin levels. And it could be about sleep and not getting a good night's sleep. It could be about having, just like we're talking about, poor posture throughout the day can be zapping your energy. So as you go through and you take the quiz, the great thing is once you finish the quiz, depending on the result, you get an exercise plan, a free exercise plan, for some of the things that you've checked off on the quiz.
All right. Awesome. So you can grab that quiz at jjvirgin.com/Kathy Smith. And Kathy, as always, it's awesome. What we got to do is we've got to get in the same place at the same time and do like a Facebook Live, do some videos for everybody. Because, I think we were all sitting here trying to move around while you were describing it. We got to do some video. So hopefully sometime in the next couple of months, we will actually be in the same place.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, it's time, my friend. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Big kiss.
Super appreciate you. Bye. This is the time where I answer our listeners' question. And this one popped up. I've been talking a lot about fitness. It's really my roots have been fitness. Then I got obsessed with nutrition. But the bottom line is you can't exercise away a poor diet. But when you put a good diet and great exercise together, the results are exponential. So I was doing a Facebook Live the other day, and Leslie popped on and says, okay, I'm a couch potato. Where do I start? A question I love. I always love the questions that are about how can I do this, not why I can't do it. Okay. Always look for the solutions. And so the first place I have people start, and we'll put in the show notes my fast fitness program, because I always start you with just starting to move more and just be aware. That's why I love things like Fitbits, used to be pedometers, but anything you can do to track, because what you measure, you can monitor and improve. So first thing is just making sure that you are moving more. You're actually taking the stairs, parking farther away. And the single easiest way to make sure that you do this is get a dog. Because when you have a dog, you got to walk a dog and you will move more. Besides, they're just so awesome. But after that, the next thing I like to put into place is high intensity interval training. Kathy is going to be talking or just talked about that today. So high intensity interval training, I call it bursting to blast fat. It's so critical because it helps your body handle stress better. It helps your body burn fat better. It raises growth hormone. And it helps you feel better, have a better mood. It boosts your endorphins. So I just teach you how to do that in my fast fitness program. And we'll also do a link to either one of my blogs or a video on how to burst, because it's very simple and it only takes a couple minutes a day, a couple times a week. So if you're sitting here listening going, yeah, I'd love to exercise, but I don't have time. Oh, I've got you covered here, because literally it only takes a couple minutes and it can make a major impact. So that's where I like to start. And then add in resistance training and some core and flexibility work. So I have you kind of step into it, because what you're going to find as you start to exercise is you feel so much better, that you can get more done in a day, and plus your mood is better, and you just get a little bit hooked on it, which is where I want you to be. All right, I'm hooked on the fabulous little comments that you guys post on iTunes, and the whole team reads them. We love them. Makes us all feel so good. We know we're out there doing something good for the world. And I just want to thank Boy11 from Canada, who said, amazing, 5 stars. JJ's information will be life-changing for you. I really appreciate that, because I know that when other people see these testimonials, they are more likely to tune in. So not only are you making all of us feel good, you're doing something good out there in the world, helping us help 1 billion people take personal responsibility for their health and feel better. And one of the big things that I've always wanted to do is make information super easy and accessible, so that you have no reason for not jumping on board. So there you go. If you're compelled to leave a review, we thank you in advance. All you need to do is pop on over to iTunes, and I will see you next week. Bye.